Hello friends, good morning. Welcome to my channel Essentials of Management. Motto of this channel is to evolve high standards of the quality of the learning of the subject management science in general and that of environment, health and safety management in particular. So we are continuing with the series Occupational Health Management. We will have discourse 7, which is part 2 of the total 4 parts about the ergonomics. Today we will discuss workstation ergonomics and WRULDs, that is work related upper limb disorders. So let us discuss about workspace and architectural ergonomics. So wherever you are working, there is a certain workstation for you, and particularly in engineering companies where assembly sections are there, so there has to be a typical workstation designed for every person who is doing certain jobs. So the design of the workspace or architectural ergonomics has a direct impact on the efficiency and productivity of the worker. So how is your workstation? On that your efficiency is dependent upon, your productivity is dependent upon. So if it is very easy to work there, you can work with the faster rate, definitely your efficiency and productivity will improve. So workspace is the space within which one performs the tasks that add up to his jobs. So there is certain assembly bench. Just imagine that there is an assembly bench and there is a table, there is a chair or a bench, and someone is sitting on that bench and working on the table. So there are certain jigs and fixtures where he is doing the assembly job. So this is the workspace of that particular person. Now workspaces can differ. In workspaces there may not be a bench or a table like that, but just for your imagination sake or understanding sake, I am saying that there is a table, there is a chair, somebody is sitting on it and doing certain assembly job. Okay. So physical design of a workplace includes working out how much space is needed. So while we design the work, when we take into consideration of designing, it includes how much space is needed. So the space should not be unnecessary more, no wastage of the space. At the same time, the space should be sufficient. It should not be less that there is a cramming or you have to sit or stand in the awkward position. So you have to first find out how much space is needed, then how to position the furniture. Whatever the furniture is required, how to position the furniture, equipment, tools and any other items needed to perform the task. In respect of the posture of the person who is doing the job, the access to the different things, means different parts he is assembling, then there has to be certain clearance, then there has to be a proper reach, everything should be within the reach and within the vision of the user. Means if you are doing certain assembly job on a certain table, sitting on a chair, so chair, the height of the table, the height of the chair, it should be such that you can sit comfortably on that chair, and the table height is such that it is not awkward for you to work, it is easy for you to work. Then the tools should be arranged in such a manner, both the hand side, means at the left hand side as well as the right hand side, that the tools can be accessed easily, and there has to be grouping of the tools. So whatever for that assembly you need different types of tools, and there is a sequence of using the tools. So those tools must be arranged in that sequence at the left hand side and at the right hand side. Similar is the case with the different spare parts. If you are assembling the job, so you need certain 5, 6, 8 spare parts which are to be assembled. So those spare parts should also be within the reach of your hands. You need not have to stretch your hands unnecessarily or bend forward to take that particular atom for assembling. I think you are trying to understand what I am trying to explain. So workstation should be such that you can work comfortably, easily, at the faster rate, so efficiently, without any harm to your physique. A poorly designed workspace or bad arrangement of furniture or equipment may result in injuries. So if you are not doing the proper arrangement of your workstation, your tools, your whatever the other things required for you, then what will happen? What is the result? It will result in injuries and strains due to adoption of uncomfortable working postures, less spare capacity to deal with unexpected events or emergencies. So you don't have the space, you are crammed in that space. If you want to get up suddenly, stand from your sitting posture, so it is a problematic thing, because there is a cramming between table, chair, you are not able to stand immediately. So less spare capacity to deal with unexpected events and emergencies, the increased possibility of errors or accidents and inefficiency. So if your workstation is not properly designed, if your work is not properly arranged, then definitely it will result in accidents, it will result in errors, and it will result in inefficiency. So what are the guidelines for the design of the workplace? Encourage a frequent change in the posture. So one should not be continuously in single posture. There has to be certain movement. So your postures should be changed frequently. Because if you sit in a posture permanently, then there will be a strain on your certain part of your body, certain muscle, like that. So avoid forward bending of head and trunk. So as far as possible, avoid forward bending. Sit in a straight position. Your it should be a erected position of your torso. So avoid forward bending and head and trunk. Avoid causing the arms to be held in a raised position. So your arms should not be in the raised position. It may be required that you have to raise your hands, but not for a longer period. So it should not be raising your hands for the longer period. So avoid causing the arms to be held in a raised position. Avoid postures that require a joint to be used for a longer period of time at the limits of its range of the motion. So there are certain joints in your hands, in your legs. So it should not be the case you are using certain joint, maybe knee joint or an elbow joint, for a longer time, and there is a limit to the motion of our joints. So our hands, how our hands move. So you can't move your hands in 180 degree sidewise. Okay. So you have to take into the limitations of our body movements, our hand movements, our legs movements, and accordingly you must have the design. Provide adequate back support for all seats. Where muscular force must be exerted, the limbs should be in a position of greatest strength. So where you have to use your muscle force, then your limb positioning should be such that you can apply greatest strength of your particular limb. Now we have already seen in our part 3, where we discussed about the introduction to the ergonomics, that what are the work related musculoskeletal disorders. So we looked into the design of the workstation, and if the design of the workstation is not proper, not correct, not according to the ergonomics, then there are chances of musculoskeletal disorders. So they are also known as cumulative trauma disorders, CTDs, repetitive strain injuries, RSIs. Overuse injuries means you are using a certain part of your body, a certain muscle, continuously. So there is overuse. There are soft tissues in our arms, in our legs. So there may be a, or even your waist. So soft tissue injuries, if they are repeatedly used, those tissues will injure, usually develop gradually, but sometimes can appear suddenly. So if it is like smoking affects your lungs, but for a longer period, it's a chronic problem. Same is the case if you are sitting in a awkward posture continuously. So there may not be a problem in a day or two or in a week, but after say 15 days, 30 days, so you will start feeling the problem. Okay, so usually develop gradually, but sometimes if you are getting up suddenly, or using your hand or stretching your hand or stretching your legs suddenly, so that time there may be a sudden pain, a instantaneous pain. So can be serious if not taken care of early. So control of musculoskeletal disorders, we have already looked that there should be awareness of the problem in managers as well as employees that such problem exists. So there is a need to redesign the workplace, proper ergonomic design of jobs, workstation, use tools, jigs, mechanical aids as far as possible. Consider awkward posture. If you find it, redesign it. Avoid factors associated with RULDs, that is work related upper limb disorders, that is repetitive tasks, pinch grips, etc. Train employees in a ways of working which minimize the risk. System which detect cases as early as possible. So you have to create the systems. So by that you can have the medical checkup or the surveillance, medical surveillance. So you can detect the cases as early as possible. Perform display screen equipment assessments, because even the display screen should be such that you can see the display screen at ease, comfortably, without stretching, without straining your eyes. So what are the symptoms? There is a discomfort in that particular part, there will be a pain, there will be numbness, tingling, burning, swelling, change in the color of the skin, tightness of your muscles or loss of the flexibility of the muscles. So these are the different symptoms of work related musculoskeletal disorders. Then causes, again we have discussed it in the third part, that awkward position, high hand force, repetitive motion, repeated impacts, heavy, frequent or awkward lifting, moderate to high hand arm vibration. Now repeated impacts, you can understand if you are hammering, then there is an impact on your shoulder, and if you are repeatedly hammering, that means there is a repeated impact. Repetitive motion means you are doing same movement again and again, repeatedly, continuously. Okay. High hand force means you are using your hand force maximum possible. So then there is a vibration, you are using certain tool that there is a vibration. Okay. So these are the risk factors. Then risk of injury depends on duration, means how long, that means how long you are doing that particular job. Means if you have stretched your hand, then how long your hand is stretched, there is a limit. Say you can stretch your hand for say half a minute or a minute, but if you are stretching your hand continuously for a longer period, then there will be definitely a pain in your shoulder joint. Frequency, how often, means if you are hammering, if the frequency of hammering is very high, then there will be a problem, there will be a pain in your hand. So frequency, how often. Intensity, if you are using a small hammer and you are using a big hammer, so if you are using big hammer, there will be a high intensity of the impact on your shoulder, and the combination of all these risk factors which we have discussed. So the risk of injury depend on duration, frequency, intensity and combination of the risk factors. So what we can do for avoiding WMSDs? Recognize and report symptoms early. Report symptoms if pain is persistent, severe or worsening. Pain radiates, means every few minutes you have a pain. So this is called as, it's just passing through your particular part. So that is called as radiation of the pain. Symptoms include numbness or tingling. So see, if a bus driver is driving a bus, so there is a continuous vibration on the hands and shoulders. So he may feel numbness in his fingers, tingling at the fingertips. So symptoms that affect your tasks. So symptom keep you from sleeping at night. So you are not able to sleep properly. The sleeping posture, if you go for sleep, so there will be a back pain or a shoulder pain or like that. So you can't sleep in the night because of the pain. Then why it is important to report symptoms early? Because chronic injuries sometimes lead to disability, even you have to go for surgery. Early treatment is more successful. If you treat the problems early, the results will be better. If you treat the problems at the very latter stage, then you may not get the results. Then get involved in ergonomics and all the related science of the ergonomics. So friends, we have seen in this discourse how there is a need to design your workstation, what are the principles of designing the workstation, what is involved, what things are involved. Then if you don't design your workstation properly, what problems of musculoskeletal disorders you face, and then to avoid those disorders, what you are supposed to do, including the workstation design. So friends, thank you very much for watching. You can resume viewing further. You can switch on to discourse 8, where we will discuss about repetitive and awkward motions and vibrations. So we will discuss in detail about all these repetitive motions, awkward motions and vibration, which we discussed just now. So friends, please do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Have a good day.